You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. I'm Pinky Webb, our source today, OCTA Research Fellow Guido David. Professor, good to see you again. Welcome back to The Source. Let me already begin. Is it really the end game of the pandemic?
Well, we definitely hope so, Pinky. The cases may be declining already in the NCR. It's not guaranteed yet. It's just a possibility because we noted a downtick in the positivity rate in Metro Manila. Although hospitalizations are still rising in Metro Manila. So is it, well, I mean, of course, if we're looking at this current wave, it's not yet over. Cases are still rising in Calabarzon and in Central Luzon, Western Visayas, and it hasn't even started to rise in parts of Mindanao and Visayas and some parts of Luzon. But well, as far as the pandemic, I mean, a lot of countries have actually moved on, and there's a possibility that subsequent waves of infection will be just like this one. It will be smaller and smaller, and something that we can manage more easily without having to escalate alert levels or have to go to lockdowns.
But when you talk about the positivity rate going down, didn't it just go down in the past 2 days in NCR?
Yes, yes, actually it did. Yes, so that's correct, Pinky. So that's what I was referring to. In the NCR, it's now 3 days of a decreased positivity rate. As you can see in the chart there, from as high as 14%, and yesterday it was already at 11.5%. So that's a good
Yeah.
sign that maybe it's nearing its end game in NCR, but not yet in the other provinces.
It's good to see graphs like that, especially when we're talking about the positivity rate. It's nice to see graphs actually going down. But in terms of cases, in not just in NCR, but because what you were referring to really was the positivity rate, as it said there in NCR, going down. But in the whole country, are we going to see still a peak? Because 1,852 in July 19, we had about 5 days of over 2,000. But ito kasi in July 19, we might have to be careful with that number because that was a Tuesday,
Yes.
and normally on Tuesdays medyo mababa yung testing. Mababa ang testing ng weekend, kaya yan yung lumalabas ng Tuesday, medyo mababa po yung results.
Yes, that's correct, Pinky. Sanay ka na sa patterns every Tuesday. That's really true. We have to be careful not to overinterpret these. But at the same time, there's also a chance that we might have already peaked in terms of cases because
Really?
cases are usually correlated with the positivity rate. So if it's decreasing in NCR, it may tend to decrease na rin, as a whole for the whole country, even though in some parts of the country it may still increase. Kasi the NCR right now comprises 40% of the cases that are being
Right.
reported.
Yeah, over 40%. Parang kalahati palagi galing sa NCR. Are you seeing any areas that are concerning?
Well, we are seeing an increase in cases in Region 1, particularly in Pangasinan, La Union, and parts of Region 2, Cagayan and Isabela. In Benguet, we're seeing an increase in cases. Western Visayas, as we mentioned, Central Luzon and Calabarzon, although those may be close to the peak because once it peaks in NCR, usually it follows in Calabarzon and Central Luzon. So in Cebu, we have, right.
Yeah, go ahead, sir. Go ahead. In Cebu?
Yeah, in Cebu, we're just starting to see an increase in cases, but it's still at low levels. Same thing with Davao, and we haven't seen a significant increase yet in many parts of Mindanao.
And if you were to approximate, when are we gonna begin to see the cases below the 1,000 level?
Should be by August. I think we should be seeing 1,000 or less cases if everything follows the trajectory that we're seeing, and that would be good news for us Filipinos. We can go back to traveling again, and that would also be good news for the upcoming face-to-face classes.
And just last topic on this: Alert Level 1 remains in effect, I believe, until the end of July. There are plans to kind of recalibrate possibly the alert levels or introduce a new system and also reorganize the IATF. Wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, actually, Pinky, to be transparent, I'm involved in a group. It's a advisory council of experts headed by former presidential advisor Joey Concepcion. And in that group, which consists of some of our fellows and medical experts, for example, Dr. Ted Harabosa, Dr. Tony Leachon, in that group, we actually made this proposal to recalibrate the alert level system. We submitted it to the Office of the President, to my understanding, and it's a way of simplifying and moving forward from the pandemic because the current alert level system was actually calibrated last year during the Delta surge. And now the virus has taken a different form with the Omicron. It's much more mild now and a lot less severe. And that gives us hope that we can, probably move forward
Yeah.
and live with the virus. Yes.
Yeah.
And so that's the idea, to simplify the
And
alert
and
level
how is it
system.
going to be simplified? Are we going to do away with the alert levels 1, 2, 3, 4? At
Well,
least in your
it will be
proposal.
simplified in the sense, yeah, it will still have 3 levels like a stoplight system. And it's the system being used in countries
see.
like New Zealand. So there's a green, yellow, and red. So if it's red, of course, we should be really careful. But if it's yellow, we can still proceed without any interventions, but we just need to be more cautious. And if it's green, basically, we can have fun out there. Or it may even be tied with the loosening of the requirements for face masks. But that's not yet clear. I mean, it's also tied with the booster coverage. So if we can get enough people to get boosters, then we can. It will be easier for us to relax the restrictions.
On using face masks. All right, OCTA Research Fellow Guido David, good to see you again and thank you for your time.
Good to see you, Pinky. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us here on The Source. I'm Pinky Webb. You're watching CNN Philippines.